Welcome to the listening window. This story is called I Stayed at a Remote Cabin and Something Felt Wrong. You're about to hear a true-to-life English story designed to help you practice both listening and speaking. Just relax, listen closely, and repeat each sentence after the voiceover to improve your English fluency. You can download the full script as a PDF by clicking the link in the description below. The PDF includes the complete story, a vocabulary list with meanings and example sentences, a quiz to test your understanding, an answer key, and a bonus writing and speaking prompt to help you go even deeper. Now let's begin. Something strange is waiting in the woods. I was exhausted, completely burned out. After months of working nonstop, I needed a break, a real one. No phones, no meetings, no noise. Just silence and nature. So I booked a cabin, a remote one, tucked deep into the woods, far from the city. The kind of place with no Wi-Fi and barely any cell signal. It was perfect, or at least, I thought it would be. I drove for nearly 5 hours through winding roads, climbing higher into the forested hills. As the pavement turned to gravel, I passed fewer and fewer houses. Eventually, there were none. Just trees, shadows, and the occasional deer darting across the road. My GPS froze, but by then I was already close. When I finally pulled up to the cabin, the sun was starting to set. The light turned everything golden. The cabin itself looked straight out of a postcard, wooden, small, with a little porch and a rocking chair. There was a fireplace, a stocked kitchen, and a bedroom upstairs with windows looking out over the trees. I unpacked my bag, made some tea, and settled in. The silence was heavy, almost too heavy. I wasn't used to it. That first night, I slept better than I had in months. But something woke me up around 3 a.m. A sound. Not loud, but distinct. Like footsteps on leaves. Slow. Cautious. I sat up in bed, heart thumping. The woods were pitch black outside the window, and I couldn't see anything. I told myself it was probably a raccoon or maybe a deer. I even laughed a little to calm my nerves. Then I heard it again. Closer this time. I stayed still, listening. The sound stopped. After a minute, I got up, went downstairs, and peeked out the front window. Nothing. Just trees and the faint light of the moon. I double-checked the door. Locked. Everything seemed fine, so I went back to bed. The next morning felt normal. Peaceful, even. I made coffee and sat on the porch, listening to birdsong. But something kept bugging me. I couldn't shake that feeling from the night before. So I checked around the cabin. I walked along the side, just casually looking for, I don't know what. And then I saw it. A boot print in the mud. Not mine. It was bigger, deeper, and fresh. I stared at it for a long time. My mind jumped to all kinds of explanations. Maybe a hiker had wandered by. Maybe someone else used the path behind the cabin. But deep down I knew no one else was supposed to be out here. I didn't want to overreact, so I tried to ignore it. The day went on. I read. I wrote a few pages in my journal. I even took a nap in the afternoon sun. But as night fell again, so did the unease. I didn't light the fire this time. I wanted to hear everything around me. At 2:45 a.m., I woke up again. Not from a sound, from a feeling. That sense you get when someone is looking at you, watching. I lay there, eyes open in the dark, listening. The silence was thick, like it was pressing against the windows. And then I heard it. A creak. From the floorboards downstairs. Not the leaves outside. Not an animal. This was inside. I froze. My breath caught in my throat. I reached for my phone. No signal. Of course. I looked around for anything I could use as a weapon. A lamp? A heavy book? My heart was racing, thudding so loudly I thought it might give me away. Another creak. Then a pause. Then nothing. I crept out of bed, slowly. The upstairs floor creaked under my feet, so I moved carefully, trying not to make a sound. I reached the staircase and peeked down. The living room was dark. I couldn't see anything. I stood there for a full minute, maybe two. Then, without turning on the lights, I walked down the stairs. Every shadow looked suspicious. I checked the door, still locked. The windows shut. No signs of a break-in. But something felt off. I turned on the light and gasped. A mug. The one I had used yesterday. It was now sitting on the opposite side of the counter. I was sure I had placed it by the sink. Little things were different. Subtle, but not imagined. I grabbed my keys and decided to leave. Right then. I didn't care that it was nearly 3:30 in the morning or that I hadn't even packed. I opened the front door and froze. On the porch, just 3 feet away, was a man. Tall, silent, standing perfectly still. His face was half hidden under a hood. I couldn't see his eyes, but I could feel them. I stepped back instinctively. He didn't move, didn't speak, just stood there, staring. My hand shook as I reached for the door to close it. He didn't stop me, didn't react. I locked the door, ran upstairs, turned off the lights, and sat on the floor, trembling. Eventually, morning came. When I dared to look out the window, he was gone. But on the porch, where he had stood, was a piece of paper. I waited until full daylight before opening the door. The paper had one sentence written on it. You weren't supposed to be here. I left within the hour. Later, when I tried to contact the rental agency, I found out that the cabin hadn't been listed for months. The booking site had taken it down due to ownership issues. There had been reports, complaints, strange happenings. I still don't know who that man was, or how he knew I was there, but I think about him every time I hear the floor creak in my apartment, every time the wind moves the curtains. And I wonder, what would have happened if I hadn't locked the door? What if I had gone outside? What if I hadn't left when I did? Would I have made it back? Now it's your turn. What would you have done in my place? Would you have stayed another night? Would you have confronted the man? Or do you think it was all in my head? Share your alternate ending in the comments below. And don't forget, you can download the full script of this story as a PDF using the link in the description. The PDF includes a complete vocabulary list, a quiz, answer key, and a bonus writing and speaking prompt to help you practice even more. Until next time, stay curious, stay alert, and keep listening only on the listening window.